would like to ask you if you have any inputs about implants.
About implants. Could you give us your definition of this idea first, to help us specify the answer for you?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
I received people talking about it,
Okay,
asking me to remove them.
okay. They asked you to remove them for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it started in February, and accidentally or not, every week people are coming to me for this.
So how do you respond? How do you choose to respond to this request?
Well, I think if they're coming, it's because I'm in their path,
Of course.
but I know nothing about if it's correct to take it or not, because if it's there, it's serving a purpose. And I thought when the purpose is no longer needed, it would stop functioning, but I don't know if my idea is correct or not.
Well, this is your intuition, isn't it? This is your heart speaking. If the purpose has been fulfilled, it will shift form. Nothing ever disappears. No energy pulls out of the equation. All that is all that is. So things transform, they move on. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So even the idea of a resisting energy frequency that you feel in your own system is only there as long as there is something still suppressed that needs to be seen. As soon as you see it, it takes place and turns into relief. You know that, right? So because you know that, that is why you intuitively understood if there is anything out there that exists, it must be there for a good reason. And that is true for this too. But there are different ways to look at the idea of implants. So, from the idea of ET contact experiences, you understand a little bit that there has been an evolution from the hybrid greys to us, the YahYel, the youngest hybrid race. Do you understand this?
No.
There is a hybridization program. We are the result of that. You could say that there is one version of Earth far, far into the future, linearly seen, that has developed itself with the species of human beings on that into a direction that was very, very materialistically and mentally oriented, so much even that they almost completely cut themselves off of their heart energy frequency. All the way up to the degree that their physical system responded by it no longer being able to even be cloned. The universe itself told these people that were already hybridized in order to stay alive, you could say, as a species. The entire universe said, even this is no longer an option. In a sense, nature said, I'm stopping this thread of exploration because it is too far out of balance. Do you understand this so far? Mm-hmm. On that version of Earth, they eventually came to the insight that this was the case, that they had depleted their planet to the degree where life on it was no longer possible, and that their own physical systems, in alignment with the Earth, whether they were aware of that or not, started to translate that truth to them. When they saw that, they understood they had crossed the boundary, that there was quote-unquote no way back. The only way back was to use a particular type of technology with the assistance of other interstellar races to travel back into time, where they could visit you in this timeline, you could say, starting around and about a lot earlier, but where it became more out in the open, the 1930s, 1940s, where the first stories of quote-unquote abductions became to be shared more so in the United States. This is one of the first countries where this became publicly known. You understand? But it was a worldwide phenomenon. Where the Greys, that's how you call these people from that future version of Earth, started to tunnel back into time, to get viable DNA, to, you could say, hybridize themselves with, into a direction that was more preferred, that was in alignment with the heart, the knowingness of the higher self, and unconditional love. They made 5 races. They included themselves within that. Then there are 5 races. We are the 5th race. We are the youngest race. We are most like you looking. You understand? Most similar to you in looks, in appearance.
Yeah.
So throughout that journey, which we refer to as the hybridization project, there have been many encounters with human beings. In order to keep track of some of these human beings, the Greys in particularly used certain implants, which were mostly tracking and reading and scanning devices made of most often organic material, so that they could be perceived by scanners within your own medical realm and wouldn't upset people, although some people have become aware of them and were upset.
And some implants, when removed, change, for example, autistic children into normal children.
This is not true.
Well, I've seen it.
But listen, this is the other half of the story. So the implants that we're speaking about are the biological actual implants that were used in the past. We don't use them anymore. And whoever encounters in the hybridization project right now doesn't need such implants, because our technology wasn't standing still either. You understand? So it is no longer needed to use these actual implants. They're no longer used by any of the hybrid species that you are communicating with right now. We don't use them. Now the word implant, the way it's being used by many people in the New Age, you could say, scene, as we see it most often, 99% of the time, is referring to a belief system that is no longer working for a person. Exactly the same material that we've been sharing with you the entire night right now, just shaped differently. It is because you live in such a computer-focused age, day and age, that the idea of chips, microchips, and implants has become a topic which is often connected to fear-based realities, where you are being controlled by things outside of you. But you understand, if you are a holistic being and you create your own reality, why would you ever do that? It seriously, as we see it in this case, often represents the idea of a permission slip where one person agrees to remove negative implants from another person, and by that it has the effect of the other person flourishing because simply they believe they have been relieved from negative implants.
Even if
but it's a belief.
Talking about children who do not understand what magnetic fields are.
You send positive energy frequencies, don't you?
Okay.
And that is always beneficial. Whether it is being accepted by the receiver or not is always up to them. But it can happen subconsciously. And if you see a child that has been in tremendous suffering and you start very focusedly sending them positive energy frequencies, whether you choose that to need to go through the idea of a symbol of an implant being removed or not, it has an effect because you choose to believe with your entire being that it has a positive effect. They can line up with that or they cannot line up with that, depending whether it is relevant for your and their reality or not. But it is all energy. You're playing with energy and you're using a term as a permission slip to allow that energy to flow. You could have as well called it a different thing.
And the phenomena that have been happening on the hallway on my practice?
That's different. That is very different. That's not related. There's a lot of astral energy active in that space. You understand?
Yeah, and what triggered it was the fact that I work with the pulse-magnetic field therapy now, and that these people are coming to me, and before it was a closed space. What changed?
In a sense, in a general sense, that is how you could translate it. You've opened up a space, but it is also within your own energy frequency that you are attracting this to grow from.
ET healing?
And human. Astral. Those that have passed over. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's why some other people pick up on that in your hallway as well. Because it is tangible to both you and some of your clients. Because again, you attract what you are also, at least partially, the energy frequency of. So you have overlapping energy frequencies, so you will both notice that, so you will both talk about it. So it will be something that you can both play with. How fun.
Thank you.
You see, and it is up to you to pour negative or positive definitions into that idea.
And be open for what it is there.
Since you're already perceiving it, yes, we would recommend to at least be open to what it activates in you. Remember what we said in the introduction of this transmission? If that triggers something in you, then this is the question to ask yourself. What does it activate in me? What journey does it start in me that can activate new growth in me? Because you are accessing that phenomena, that presence within you. You're underlining that. It's everywhere all the time, you might say.
So it's not my ego interfering.
When exactly? How do you mean that?
That's it's not my ego wanting something to happen.
No, because these particular kind of, you could say, cross connections that you're making
Yes.
cannot be invited from the level of the ego. The ego can want it all it wants, you could say, but it will only occur if it is energetically relevant for both of you, the beings and you. These are the kind of manifestations, like any other manifestation really, that matters or materializes, that occurs and becomes perceivable to you when you're ready and they're ready. You are cross-connecting, so it is relevant for both of you, until it no longer is. These things may come and go, but right now you're playing with it, and you can play with it however you like, and your ego only perhaps becomes a part of it when you begin labeling it as something that only happens with you and that is very special and you know how to deal with it and others don't. But that is clearly recognizable, the ego going and running away with it.
Yeah.
And it might be very much something that will actually stop you having that experience, because it doesn't resonate with the beings there. It has nothing to do with the message they have come to reflect back to you. You understand?
Yes.
So it will always be through your higher self that you connect with others in that sense.
Thank you.
For you to grow from. Can you play with that?
Yes.
Happy dancing in the hallway.